to have the third highest scoring average in NBA history. And now James Harden and the Rockets are the hottest team in basketball, having won 7 in a row. Tonight, the Rockets home for the Blazers. Portland comes in off of a win, but victories have been few and far between during the first month of the season. Lillard enters as the league's 4th leading scorer. Did CJ get things turned around in Saturday's come-from-behind win? He scored 32. Prior to that, he was having his least efficient season since he became a starter. Blazers, Rockets, tonight. And you'll see it right here on NBA TV. We welcome you into Studio B in Atlanta, where we've got the Hall of Famer and trouble starter, Kevin McHale, alongside the former general manager of the Atlanta Hawks, Wes Wilcox. I will be Jared Greenberg for the next few hours. 1 hour from now, we've got Rockets and Blazers. You okay? You containing yourself over there?
I am. I'm fine. I'm not causing any trouble as of now.
A man who has been causing trouble for opposing defenses. This is the league's leading scorer, James Harden. This is what his last 7 games have looked like while Houston has won each and every single one of them. He has scored over 40 points in 3 consecutive games and 5 of the last 7. So as you might imagine, tall task for tonight's opponent, the Blazers, who have been struggling mightily sans their most recent win against San Antonio. So how does Damian Lillard and Terry Stotts prepare? That was the question earlier tonight.
Well, it starts with James Harden. You know, I mean, he keeps taking it up another notch every year. So he poses unique challenges with his threes and penetration and free throws and all that he does. Westbrook's brought in a new dimension. Last year, I think they were like 24th in the league in pace. Now they're at 3rd. So not only are they a unique half-court team, but now they get out in transition.
What would you like to see from your backcourt tonight defensively?
Make it difficult for them. You know, they're going to get the threes up. They're averaging almost 48 threes a game. We got to make them miss them. If we can keep them under 40 attempts, that would be nice too.
I mean, they're both MVPs, you know, so smart enough players to figure it out. They friends, so I think that makes it easier for them to coexist. And they've also played together before, you know, obviously at different stages of their career, but all those things play a factor, you know, and I think that's why it's been working out.
What do you expect from this Houston team?
I mean, I expect them to play how they always play. You know, I don't think they changed much. I think the only difference now between this year and last year, the year before that, is just the pace. And obviously you add Russ to the equation and it's going to be a faster pace. He likes to push it and play in transition and play in space. And James, you know, prefers half court and ISOs and stuff like that. But, you know, I think they're going to have a lot of shooters out there and they're going to play in the paint and, you know, on the perimeter. There's going to be threes and at the rim. So that's what our challenge is.
If you like offense, you're going to enjoy this one tonight, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, Portland and Houston right here on NBA TV. It's our Monday night game. So through the first 13 games, we're trying to find new ways to define what James Harden has done. You have coached him. Yeah. Is he continuing to get better? Are the defenses getting worse? Have the rules adjusted to him? What have you seen for the first month of the season?
I think James started off, and his first few games were a little ratty. He started just putting his head down and getting to the line. He said, like, you know, granted, you know, in Houston, it's the 3-ball in the paint, you know, the analytics. But he kind of just started putting his head down. I thought that got him going. He really started getting fouled a lot. And even though he wasn't shooting a good percentage, he was getting fouled and getting in line. His numbers were okay. But now all of a sudden, when you see Harden shooting 45% from the field, for James, that's a good percentage. Because he takes such a boatload of threes. So what he's done is I just think he's mastered the art of getting fouled again. Yep. And I think he got away from that for a while. And I think sometimes in the playoffs what hurts James is he just gets away from getting to the line as much. But right now he's on an unbelievable roll, just scoring the ball in so many different ways. And for me, just that little bit of extra pace has really helped the Houston Rockets. They went from being one of the slower teams to one of the faster teams. They just get a couple of easy baskets. So it's James just perfecting his craft. This guy's a professional scorer. He truly is.
Wes, what are you seeing from a guy who, you know, can look at the numbers or look at how teams are scouting him and eventually trying to execute against him? What's been different this year?
Well, the pace that everyone's talked about that, you know, Houston is playing, and a lot of that is attributed to Westbrook and how he's able to push that thing. The big question, though, is how do you try to stop this guy? And do you bring two? Do you double him? Do you double him early because he plays so much isolation, which Houston is still the #1 ISO team in the NBA. And so I start to wonder if we're going to see a little bit more of what Utah did last playoffs, and we saw Milwaukee do it earlier in the year where they play on the side, play behind. There was a lot of talk about that, a lot of criticism. But when there's nothing else you can do to stop the guy, you got to try something creative.
Well, playing behind guys, like I'm going to go back to my 7th and 8th grade coach. He said, now look at this game really is not that difficult. Okay, ready? Keep your butt between the basketball and the basket and your man, okay? That really wasn't all that hard. A lot of B's in there. You got to be able to do alliteration, But basketball, butt, basket, everything lined up. You don't go on the other side of the guy. When they did that, I was like, my poor 7th and 8th grade coach just threw his hands up and said, what the hell did I teach Mikhail? Gimmicks can work for a little bit, but once you get on top of them, it was just a drive and a throw, a drive and a throw. If you really want to try to contain James, you've got to try to keep from fouling him, which is very hard to do because he's driving in there. And you got to keep live enough bodies, change bodies up on him, push up on him at times, put different length, put different strength on him. He's almost an impossible guy to guard. But boy, if teams started playing on the other side of guys, when I'm going this way to the basket and you're standing here, that never works. You're always standing here with the butt basketball thing going, Okay.
So you don't like this then?
Oh, good Lord.
Thanks for the clarification.
Okay,
No.
One more time, what's the alliteration?
It's basketball, butt, basket, right in the line. He goes over, you keep your butt at the basket and keep the ball in front of you, you'll be okay.
Basketball 101, Hall of Famer. By the way, to your point, James Harden has got to the free throw line, double-digit attempts every single game this year.
Yeah, I mean, he's impossible to stop. And he's leading the league in three-point attempts. He's leading the league in free throw attempts. He scores the ball in the paint. He's able to deliver it. That's why you just don't know. I mean, is it a zone? Is it a double team? But they play ISO, so then you can't double, so then you got to go run at him. Yeah.
Okay. And another thing, too, what you're going to see happens all the time. Referees call the game tighter early in the year. You'll see things start loosening up. And all of a sudden, some of these couple of these fouls, the cheapies, they won't get them. But that's the way the league's always been. They always start off a little tighter. So, but again, getting back to our premise of what we started out, that dude's a professional scorer. He puts the ball in the hole.
All right, bad news here for the Blazers tonight. Rockets, who have been banged up while winning all these games, by the way. They'll get Russell Westbrook back tonight. He rested their last game out. And Clint Capella, who's been dealing with concussion-like symptoms, will play tonight for the Houston Rockets. Okay, so that's good news for the Rockets, bad news for the Blazers, who have been struggling mightily. Other news, we're just getting breaking news in, by the way, right now about other injury updates for tonight. ESPN is reporting that Kawhi Leonard will not play. So take that off from questionable. ESPN is reporting that Kawhi Leonard will miss tonight's game against Oklahoma City. As soon as we get more information on that.
Load management?
He's been dealing with a knee injury, Kevin, they've been saying. So you can't call it load management.
Okay, I'm just checking.
So as soon as we get more information on Kawhi, but the ESPN report says he is out. We have Patrick Beverley is questionable. Kyrie Irving is going to miss his second straight with a shoulder injury for the Nets. Malcolm Brogdon, what a big loss this is for Indiana with him out with that back injury. And Andrew Wiggins dealing with personal. And there's the update here from the ESPN report that Kawhi is out. That's the big story here for tonight with the Clippers. But we've got the Blazers and Rockets live at NBA TV coming up at 8 o'clock Eastern. We come back with the plays of the week, which includes one of the great dunks we've seen. Game Time coming back. We're back on Game Time Live, getting you set for Blazers Rockets on NBA TV at 8 Eastern. But the big breaking news story, as reported by ESPN, is that Kawhi Leonard is going to miss his third straight game tonight with a left knee injury. It'll be the fifth game he misses this season. He has yet to play a game with Paul George. And when Kawhi does not play, the Clippers are 1-3. So let's bring back in Kevin McHale, Wes Wilcox, Jared Greenberg with you here, just to get some thoughts, Wes, on what maybe, we made a big deal of this load management thing, but truly it looks like there was some substance behind it, that the Clippers were trying to protect him from what might be a significant injury.
Yeah, no, there's a clear difference between load management and just injury management. And oftentimes an organization may want to protect the player. And so what is shared publicly may be, just a little more towards protecting the player than sharing all of the medical information. And I'll also say, watching him play these last couple of games, Toronto, he really struggled. We know Toronto double-teamed him. Toronto had a great game plan going up against him. But then Houston, when the Clippers played in Houston, Kawhi's last game, the team struggled. The Clippers really struggled in that game, and Kawhi just didn't look himself. So it sounds like there's a real injury here.
Yeah, I thought the Toronto game, he had 9 turnovers, but that was mostly they just ran at him and took the ball out of his hand. The next game, he just didn't have the typical Kawhi juice. He always plays at a very, very a pace that he wants to play at. He only goes as fast as he needs to go. But yeah, he didn't look quite right. And right now is the time. Early in the season, Paul George just came back. If Kawhi needs some time, give him some time now, because that team is built for next April, May, and June. That's right. What they're looking at. So give him a little bit of time right now, but I hate to see the guy get injured just because he's such a dynamic player, and he's had such bad luck. Remember 2 years ago, he didn't play at all.
Yeah, 9 games.
Yeah, that's not playing at all.
Yep.
That's just
I thought I was agreeing with you.
No, that's not playing at all. 9 games out of 82 is not enough. And then last year, of course, he played 62 or 60 of the 82. So you just want to see him get healthy.
For sure.
Tonight, the Clippers have OKC, which is a game you say, okay, we should be okay without Kawhi, but it gets significantly more challenging as the week goes on. Wednesday night, the Clippers home for the Celtics, and then Friday, home for the Rockets. So we'll see and monitor and see what maybe Doc Rivers has to say prior to tonight's game. Again, Kawhi Leonard, according to ESPN, will miss his 3rd straight game with a left knee contusion. From that, we ask you to check out the top plays on NBA.com/video for your daily and weekly top plays. Now here's the top 10 plays from Week 4 in the NBA.
Trez up high, blocked by Boucher. Clippers can still restore the...
I like what you're saying.
Oh my goodness, Ja Morant. Oh my goodness, how do you do? What did we just see?
How did he do that?
Harden lob for Chandler! Exclamation point!
Seven. Barrett outside the switch. Doncic goes, oh, what a great start! And then he hammers it home! Broke his ankles and pounds it for 2. What a play!
And how about the finish?
Morant down the lane, lays it up, it is! Holy cow! With 0.7 of a second, Ja Morant!
Jokic putting it on the deck against Towns. Wild shot by Jokic. Oh, are you kidding? Wow.
2.4.
Wow. Jokic throwing up a wild shot.
He threw that between Rubio's legs. Little nutmeg and 5 quick points, and looking to make it 6 with the and 1. Wow. That's all I got to say is wow. They give it to Washington. Graham goes backdoor. Graham puts up a 3. Oh, it's good. It's good. And Charlotte takes the lead with 2.1 remaining.
Shoot 38% from downtown. Here comes LBJ! Look out!
Oh, the crowd on their feet. That's what they came to see. If nothing else happens, they're happy now.
Monk fires. Oh! It's good. It's official. Malik Monk, how do you do?
From the top 10 plays of last week to a man very capable of starting off this week with a top play. Damian Lillard and the Blazers looking to win consecutive games for just the 2nd time this season. You'll see Portland at Houston coming up at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, right here on NBA TV. Back on Game Time Live, getting you set for the Blazers and Rockets, 8 o'clock Eastern right here on NBA TV. Well, it's been a rough start for the Blazers, but don't blame Damian Lillard, who's been carrying the load and playing a whole bunch of minutes, just a tick more than Fred VanVleet to give him the league lead for minutes played per game so far this season. And, oh, look, there's C.J. McCollum at third, so the backcourt doing a whole lot. Maybe they start to get a bit of a break once Carmelo Anthony officially joins the squad. Could that happen tomorrow night? Maybe, but Lillard talking about how he will certainly get a whole bunch of help once Melo is on board.
I'm all for it. I think we're in a position where we got a lot of guys hurt. I think he can do something to help us with his size, his ability to space the floor, his ability to shoot. Another option, to throw somebody the ball that can score in isolation situations. Good rebounder, and just the experience. He's a good player, regardless of what the last few years, in Houston and OKC looked like. I didn't think either one was a great fit. And I think he can do things to help our team. So, we're not in a position to complain about it. He's a Hall of Fame player and he can still play. So, hopefully, it'll bring some excitement and get us going, help us get going in the right direction.
Well, you'll possibly get to see Melo's debut in a Blazers jersey against his former team. How about the schedule makers doing us a huge favor? And you'll be able to see it on center court on NBA TV Tuesday night. We've got the Blazers taking on the Rockets. That's tonight. And then tomorrow night, Blazers against the Pelicans. So a big week here for Blazers on NBA TV. So that's tonight and tomorrow night. Right now, let's go to Houston and welcome one of the newest members of our NBA.com family covering the Texas squads. That is Michael C. Wright. Michael, I know you're on Texas beat here, but let's talk first about what you've been hearing about Portland, who is in Houston tonight. And they haven't made it official yet with Carmelo Anthony, but what are people saying around the Blazers team about when and if?
Well, obviously, Terry Stotts shut the whole thing down when anybody tried to ask officially on the record about it. But he did say that Carmelo is supposed to join the team tonight after the game. They're going to fly out of Houston tonight, head to New Orleans, and Carmelo is supposed to meet up with them there. Now, he could be making his debut against the New Orleans Pelicans, but I think that's the earliest he'll be making that debut. So I would say, help is on the way, but I just don't know exactly how soon it'll be. But he definitely will be in New Orleans meeting up with the team tonight.
All right, that game will be tomorrow night again on NBA TV. The Blazers have just announced who their starting lineup is for tonight. And again, Nasir Little is in it. We'll see if that changes once Carmelo becomes official potentially tomorrow night. Let's shift gears and talk about one of the teams you cover on a regular basis, that is the Houston Rockets. What have you noticed from James Harden this year different from other years with the numbers he's putting up and the respect nationally that he is getting now?
I'm not going to say this is different. This is what I'm going to say is this is the exact same thing. It's like with James Harden, it's like Groundhog Day. Think about this. It seems like the last 2 or 3 years we're always talking about what's wrong with James Harden. He's not playing so well. He's not shooting the ball very well. And that happens, it seems like, at the beginning of every year. And then you go talk to Mike D'Antoni, and he's like, oh, I'm not worried about James. James is going to find his stroke, and he'll be just fine. And look, this is what we have right now. I mean, the guy over the last 7 games is shooting 41% from three. My math, I majored in journalism for this very reason. My math is a little shaky, but I believe if he scores 47 tonight, that would put him at 40-point scoring average, on the season. And as you guys know, if he were to somehow finish the season averaging 40 points a game, there's only one other guy that's done that. That's Will Chamberlain.
Yeah, that's amazing when you talk about averaging 40 points a game. They're playing a little faster. James has been on a roll. But defensively, the Rockets have been just better. What do you notice in their defense? Because they've been putting up nice defensive numbers here as of late.
Well, you know what? I think, one of the biggest things, and Mike D'Antoni has talked about this since last season, he talked about rebounding. Defensive rebounding. He talked about that a lot. He said that was one of the team's weaknesses coming into this year, and he said that, he was really happy to have Russell Westbrook, because that's one of the things that he does well. And that helps them to get out in transition, obviously. And, you know, as fast as those guys go, they're able to make a lot of plays that way. But then, you know, you've got athletic guys like Clint Capella, and he's really coming into his own. You know, I mean, this is a bouncy, you know, just rim running guy. And he's only going to get better with the, you know, more experience and, you know, the older he gets. And, you know, Mike D'Antoni, you know, he was sort of critical of him earlier in this season. He said he needed to get better. But, you know, when he's been able to play, he's played well. And by the way, he is playing tonight.
And Michael, their defense is much better as well, like you're just talking about, but it's also their pace. Last year, we know they were one of the slowest paced teams in the NBA. This year, they're at the top of the league in pace. Like, can you share with us, like, how did that come about? How are they playing so much faster?
Well, I think Russ has a lot to do with it, man. You know how that goes. And, you know, one thing, and maybe it's just a small thing that I noticed, but, you know, usually, you know, in the third quarter, you know, James Harden goes out towards the end, and then Russell comes in, and like he sort of closes the game. But from the time he's in while James Harden is out, it seems like, you know, Russell Westbrook really gets in kind of a groove, you know, and by the time James comes back in the game, he's fully lathered up. He's ready to go. And then the next thing you know, you see Russ running and making all these cuts, and James is throwing him lobs and, you know, all kinds of passes, and, you know, they're making this thing work. And so, you know, it's really interesting. You know, like right now, James and Russell are both averaging 20-plus points. Don't you know that the last time they've had two Rockets averaging 20-plus points, that was like 07-08. That was Yao Ming and T-Mac. That was a long time ago.
Well, Michael C. Wright, appreciate you chiming in here on the pregame, getting set for the Rockets and Blazers on NBA TV. We will check out your work on NBA.com. All right, there's Michael. Appreciate the time there. Let's talk about the other squad here, Portland, and what's on the way here. We assume, and again, there's not been an official announcement. Terry Stotts is not acknowledged yet. We do anticipate, according to reports, that he will join the team, as Michael Wright has just said, tonight, and that we'll be with them tomorrow in New Orleans in a game you could see on NBA TV. But what's your take here, Mac, on what Carmelo Anthony adds to a team that seemed like, is this a desperate move by them, and what can he bring to the table?
It does have a little hint of desperation, I think, because what I notice about Portland right now, they're not getting any runouts, they're not getting defensive stops, they're not getting deflections, they're not getting a lot of things that lead to easy baskets. So you're basically, they're playing a lot of half-court basketball, which you know, when you got a jump shooting team, and Melo anymore, you saw him in the post there on that thing. Melo stays outside more. He's another jump shooter, and jump shooting comes and goes like the weather. And so, well, to me, Portland needs to be able to establish some more stuff in the paint, get some steals, get some defensive rebounds, get out and run, get some easy baskets. They've lost their mojo, and you know, as a team, when I watch them, I don't see what I used to see in them. Just kind of a sense of purpose in how they've played. So, but I'm not sure Melo is the answer to that. I mean, you know, I mean, they're trying stuff. I'll give them credit, but they just have got to get that next gear going. They just seem like they're just stuck. Like you're always thinking, okay, when's this Portland offense going to explode? When they're going to go run off some threes, some activity and stuff? They're a different team this year. Replaced a lot of players, but they haven't found any rhythm.
You know, you just said it. They have a lot of new players on the team. They've dealt with injuries, especially on the front line.
Yeah.
Collins is a huge loss for them. He's one of the best defensive big guys in the entire NBA. You know, of course, we know they have the Nurkic injury. Scalabrine, you know, a replacement-level player on an ankle. So I actually like this move for the Blazers. They're about the same defensive team they were last year, 19th or so in defensive rating. Their drop, last year they were third in offense. Mm-hmm. This year they're middle of the pack in offense. And if there's anything that Carmelo can add to this team, it's a little bit of an offensive firepower, especially at the 4 position. It may be desperate, but this is the time of the year where you got to go to the replacement market to add to your team. And I like this move by the Blazers.
Yeah, but their offense is going to pick up unless they get higher quality shots, unless it gets some easy shots. That easy shots have got to come for your defense. Their defense has never been great, but you know, Freak, Amino, and those guys,
for sure,
they get their hands on balls. And Harkless, Long, they would get those steals. And I can't tell you what a steal and a run out and a layup does for your confidence. And they're not getting those. Those guys are not getting any easy hoops. So I just think they've got to get better defensively. They've never been a great defensive team, but they had guys that could get steals and were long. And need easy baskets.
Quickly, does it matter if Melo starts or comes off the bench?
I hope it doesn't matter for Melo's sake, because that's what's gotten him. Well, that's one of the things that's gotten him trouble before.
Yeah, but Melo's never been a great defender. So I mean, whatever he's doing, he's going to have to up his defensive effort a little bit with this team, because that team needs to generate some good offense from their defense. And starting or coming off the bench, I think Melo has got to look at it and be, I'm a 26 minute a game guy, and whether I start or come off the bench, I'm going to play about half a game.
Yeah. I love that flosser in your hand, by the way. That's just got me all sorts of distracted here, Matt.
Yeah, I just had it here. I don't know why. It was just here, so I'm playing with it. Okay, hold on. I'll start playing with my stick for my copy. Does that make you better?
I'm just confused why you're flossing on the desk.
I'm not. I got a stick here. I had my pen for a while. This thing was sitting here. Just doing my thing.
Well, we've got a lot of potentially Carmelo Anthony on Turner Sports this week, maybe tomorrow night on center court against the Pelicans. Luka Doncic, he's the NBA's 5th leading scorer. We'll talk about how great he has been, and maybe Kevin will floss for us when we come back.
No flossing. Yeah, no flossing. With that guy.
All right, it is the Auto Trader pregame getting you set for the Blazers and Rockets. Another Texas team we'll talk about here is the Dallas Mavericks. And look how good Luka Doncic has been this season so far in the NBA. And recently he chatted with Allie LaForce.
You don't play like a 20-year-old. Do you feel like you're 20, or how old do you feel?
I don't know. I feel like 20.
Playing in the NBA one full year last year, after that, what did you realize needed to change in your routine, and what did you focus on this summer?
Especially my body, take care of my body. I've been doing that, not great, but way better than the first season, and that was really a good change for me.
What are some examples of things that you changed?
My diet, going to the weight room more. Especially those two things were the key.
If somebody said to you, this really surprised me about the NBA, what was it?
I would say the amount of flights and the amount of games. It's everybody knows. It's 82, but until you don't play it, you don't realize how hard it is. And if you go to the playoffs, it's even harder.
What has been the best thing that Coach Carlisle has taught you?
He taught me a lot of things. He's a great coach. He obviously won championships, and he knows how to lead a team. And I think he helped us all.
So when Coach Carlisle, I was reading some articles where he's giving you every compliment he possibly can. But the one I thought was neat is he said, "I wouldn't trade him for anybody, and I would pay to watch him play."
That was special, But you never know. Those words were something special, not to trade for anybody, because you know how many great players are out there. They were just a special message there, right?
Do you feel like it's your team or our team, or how would you describe?
I feel like a team has more leaders than just one. Obviously there's me and KP, but we have some vets like Silly, Courtney, JJ, of course, and they help us way more than we could help.
How would you describe the way you felt the first time you and KP were on the floor together?
Oh, it was great. He's obviously just getting his rhythm. He's been off the court a long time. He's getting better and better, and he just needs time, and he's gonna be a great basketball player.
Do you guys talk a lot with words on the court, or is it more body language? How would you describe the way you communicate?
I would say with words. Obviously, when I know the defenders don't speak Spanish, we speak Spanish between each other, and tell us what we're gonna do so they don't understand us.
What's been your favorite moment with KP so far this season on the court?
I don't know, probably some alley-oops, some passes.
Who's been the most exciting player that you've gotten to play against?
LeBron James. I always admired him since I was little, so that's him.
What was different about playing against him other than watching him play? Was he faster and stronger or smarter? Was there anything that surprised you playing against him instead of watching?
He's one of the greatest, so I watched that. When I play against him, he did that. So he obviously, for me, didn't change the way he played. He always played amazing.
I think you're a guy who sees big picture, and you want the best things for your team and your organization. People talk about you being in the MVP conversation. What does that mean to you, and what's the big goal that you have in mind?
Like I always say, it's special to hear it, but obviously I just want my team into the playoffs. That's our goal, that's my goal. And I've been talking to JJ. He said playing in the playoffs is it's so much fun, and that's what I want to do.
Luka the Don and Kristaps Porzingis. Dallas Mavericks take on San Antonio for the first time this season. Dallas right now 7-5, and a good opportunity here to pick up some wins after beating Toronto. They've got San Antonio tonight, who's reeling. Then they've got Golden State and Cleveland here. What's impressed you most about this pairing the first month?
I mean, the pairing, it's been great to see Porzingis look healthy again and look like he might be able to return to the player we remember a couple years ago. But Luka's been incredible. I mean, outside of Giannis, Harden, and LeBron, this kid's got to be up there in the MVP race.
Yeah, hella Luka, baby. He's out there running around doing stuff. I don't think Porzingis has played well yet. Porzingis has not caught a rhythm at all. When he reverse pivots and they put smaller bodies on him, they get up underneath him. He's got no balance down the post to be able to get low, turn around, face up, get him off you, rip, use that length. He's got to be able to use that length. I've seen Rick throw him down there. Coach Carlisle's thrown him down there in the post late in games, and he's really struggled down there. So he hasn't found a rhythm at all yet. Porzingis hasn't. And you got to remember, he didn't play last year.
That's right.
So and he's a young player too. It's going to take a while, but when he comes around, you can't say anything more about Doncic. He's playing as well as you can play. That kid's playing phenomenal. Porzingis is the guy that's going to take this team from a maybe playoff team to a solid playoff team if he plays better. But he has not got a rhythm. I don't know if he knows where he's going to get the ball yet, and I don't think he's playing well enough to demand it. So it's just, Rick Carlisle will figure it out. But Porzingis is hopefully starting now will start playing better.
Obligatory former Celtic teammate mentioned here by Mikhail.
Of course.
There. Let's talk about the opponent tonight, the San Antonio Spurs, and this is uncharted territory for them here. They've lost 5 in a row, and it's been head-scratching how they're losing games. This team that's been known for however they play offensively, they've always been at least tied to a defensive principle, and we know who they are, their identity. What have you seen from the numbers and video you've studied from San Antonio?
Well, the two things that jump out with the Spurs, you mentioned the defense. It's not been what it's been historically, but this Spurs team struggled defensively last year, especially until they moved Jakob Poeltl into the starting lineup, and that kind of helped them defensively last year at least. But the other thing that's concerning about this Spurs team right now is their strength of schedule. They've had one of the easiest schedules to date in the NBA, and they just haven't been able to take advantage of that schedule.
I've always been amazed with some of the players they have that they can collectively play good team defense because they have some individual defenders. They had Anderson there. They had Aldridge. They had a bunch of guys that were bad individual defenders, but collectively they've always been solid. Pops hasn't got that collective thing going yet down there.
They don't.
They don't have great individual parts. Sometimes, you know what? You can get by defensively when you have great defenders. You put them on their top players. They're really smart. We talked about IQ earlier. They get in the right position. They do all these things, and they cover up for so many sins. Right now, San Antonio has not got those sins covered up. They're too porous defensively. They've given up everything. Giving up threes, giving up layups, fouling. It's just unlike a Pops defensive team.
The clock is ticking loud. Under a month ago until the unofficial start of trade season in the NBA, and the Spurs could be one of those teams that's potentially very busy. You know who's been busy on the desk? Kevin McHale, promoting good oral hygiene here. I promise you. He's got not only a cell phone, but he's also got himself a flosser at all times with him.
And I do. Oral hygiene is very important. There it is, right there.
Why do you have a piece of food in your teeth?
Yeah.
We're back with much more Auto Trader pregame. Rockets Blazers, 8 o'clock Eastern on NBA TV. You've seen change over the last 6 months or so?
Well, I think, first and foremost, you just look solely at this roster, and the Suns now have a roster filled with NBA players, and, not to talk disparagingly of the previous rosters, but there was a lot of youth, a lot of G League talent on this team. And what James Jones, Monty, and this leadership group did is go out and they found some veteran leadership, but guys who still were kind of marginally young, and they've come in having a great understanding of what it takes to win in the NBA. You look at a Ricky Rubio and Aaron Baines, who's going to get a chance to take on his former team here tonight, and then adding in Monty and all he learned from his previous stops, first as a head coach and then as an assistant coach. And it starts with accountability and playing hard. And we've seen all that come to fruition now, and good things as a result.
Yeah, let's not look past the obvious lead here, and that is the team's best player, Devin Booker, 11th in the league in scoring. People talking about how they're actually noticing him being a willing defender this year. What have you seen and talked to Devin about his approach that maybe has changed over the first month of this season?
Yeah, I think it really starts with the relationship that Devin and Monty forged early on. There were a number of phone conversations, a lot of text messages, face-to-face meetings, and, Monty really putting it on the shoulders of Devin to be a leader and telling Devin that he has a chance to take that next step, but he's got to commit on both ends of the floor. And Devin's always wanted to, but you've also had to look at what he has had around him. We've seen Devin be efficient, but doing so, again, with a shorthanded roster. He's always been a willing passer. He's tried to be a willing defender, but look, it does get challenging over the course of an 82-game season. But he understands now this is the best roster of talent that he has had around him. And the bottom line is he doesn't want to see it go to waste. So we're really seeing him take that next step, that evolution, if you will, on both ends of the floor.
Hey, Kevin McHale here. We can't have Greenberg ask all the questions. Who the hell wants to listen to him? One thing I've noticed is that they really are playing so much harder this year. And I thought the last couple of years, honestly, I lived on in Scottsdale in the winter. They just didn't play hard. You've got to give Monty so much credit for getting those guys just at a whole nother level of energy and effort.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Kevin. And Monty will tell you that, and we just had the a little pregame meeting with him, and he said, first and foremost, what you have to understand as a head coach, and learned it from his first stint as a head coach, is you don't have all the answers. And he's really tried to come in and give his players ownership. Again, talking about Ricky Rubio, all the value he brings to the floor with the numerous experiences he has, both in the NBA and international play. Same thing with Aaron Baines and with Devin Booker. He's gotten those guys to play the hardest, and if your best players are playing the hardest, the other guys have no choice really but to do the same. And this is a group that has really meshed together very quickly. And as you know, the former player and a coach, it's always hard sometimes to gauge what that chemistry will be like. But this group developed quickly, and as Monty has said a number of times, you can just see how well these guys like to play for one another.
And we got to give James Jones a lot of credit. We took a lot of hits at him on this very network. I was critical of the Rubio signing at that dollar price, and bringing in a guy like Baines has been a huge addition. So good job by the Suns so far through the first month. I got a big test tonight against a very hungry Boston Celtics team. We cannot wait to check in to League Pass tonight and listen to Kevin Ray and the great Eddie Johnson. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us.
Sounds good, fellas. Have a good night.
All right, there he is. Kevin Ray joining us. Thanks for letting me get some in there. Appreciate it, Mac.
You're just bogarting the whole thing. We can't let that happen.
I'm just following instructions from up top.
Well, I had to do some directing.
Yeah, you did. You did well.
I did.
All right, how about you do some producing here, too? The team that Phoenix is playing tonight, great point guard matchup. Who would have thunk the Rubio against Kemba Walker at this point would be one to watch, but it certainly is. Okay, so the Celtics' 10-game win streak is over, but Kemba Walker is still playing well.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to win every game, but they're playing well. They're playing so differently. Their shot selection is so much better, and a lot of that starts with Kemba. And Kemba just passing and playing off the ball. I mean, it's a lot of simple plays. Coming off of a pick, he gets it over there quickly, and look at that pass sets up everything. Sets up the corner, but Kemba getting out of his hands at the right time as the defender sucked in opens up that corner. Look at Kemba's in the corner, hasn't even touched the ball. Now he's a point guard. He's over there, he's waiting. Look at this. Gets it, boom, out of his hand into a nice rhythm jump shot. So he's not bogarting the ball, like you're trying to do this broadcast. We're dribbling the ball all over. And like here, right now, look at he has three guys. He gets three guys on that side of the floor. So what does he do? It's a feel of basketball. When there's three guys on the strong side, you know there's three defenders over there. You don't process it, but you automatically say, ball's got to go to the weak side. And so as soon as the ball touches your hands, you're not counting players, but you just know there's three guys there. Ball touches your hand, it just gets to the weak side. That's called just having an innate IQ that you're not thinking, you're just playing. And all good players have that. You know when the court's overloaded, you know where the defense is. And so there's no thinking. The ball came to him, he saw 3 defenders, or he just knew it was overloaded. Bam, 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 and the ball gets the other side. So much different than last year, where a lot more bouncing, a lot less passing. So give Kemba Walker a ton of credit for coming in there and playing the way he's playing. And also, I think the coaching staff has done a nice job of getting this team playing better. I like their shot selection. They've been solid, really solid defensively, which I thought when Al Horford left, they'd really struggled defensively. They've been solid without really having big guys healthy and ready to play. Or actually, I shouldn't say healthy, having their big guys at the level you want them at. But offensively, they don't turn it over. So they get a shot almost every possession down, which is huge in this league because they're not running after turnovers.
But they have been banged up a bit with Tice in and out of the lineup, Robert Williams in and out of the lineup with some injuries and illness. But when you were the general manager of the Hawks and you've been working with different teams throughout your career and you're looking at analytical data and you're talking to scouts and you're looking at tape, how much of the intangibles play into what we've been hearing out of Boston, that they're just in a better mood this year in the locker room with Kemba Walker there?
Oh, I mean, it's critical. Confidence, work rate, personality. One thing about a point guard is the best point guards, they increase the energy of the room. They bring everybody up with them. There's neutral and then there's negative. You want to stay away from negative, and you even really want to stay away from the guys that bring neutral energy, and you only want that positive energy, and that's what we're seeing with Kemba Walker. That's why you see Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, even some of their younger guys. I love the job that Danny Ainge has done drafting Grant Williams, Carson Edwards, Daniel Theis. This team looks like they're a contender in the Eastern Conference.
One quick thing. Kemba's made a few shots, comes down, Tatum takes a shot that maybe is iffy, Tatum's hot, or Kemba's hot. Brad Stevens says something to Tatum, and Kemba immediately says, don't worry, good shot. That's okay, I'll get mine, don't worry about it, and diffuses the whole thing, whereas I don't think that was happening last year. I think that thing got built up into something more. He just diffused it by saying, good shot, don't worry about it, coach. Jason was open, I'll get mine in the thing. So there's a synergy and an energy on good teams, and everything is positive, and everything is towards the final goal of winning the game. All the other statistics and all the other crap means nothing. It's do you win the game?
One stat I will give you is Kemba's second half splits are incredible.
Unbelievable.
He is so efficient after halftime of games so far this season. They're playing a back-to-back against the Phoenix Suns on League Pass.
He has a Red Bull. Gives them wings.
On NBA TV coming up just a few moments away. We've got the start of the Rockets and Blazers live Monday Night Hoops for you. Getting you set for Rockets and Blazers. Russell Westbrook returns tonight after missing last game as he continues his rehab from off-season knee surgery. Westbrook and the Rockets won 7 straight. You'll see Houston take on Portland coming up in just moments, live on NBA TV.
Finally, it's easy.
Auto Trader keys to the game. Keys to the game presented by AutoZone. Here we go. Let's go with Houston, who's won 7 in a row, and Portland, who lost 6 of 7 before winning on Saturday.
Yeah, no. Portland, C.J. McCollum, great game last game against San Antonio, but struggling before that. He needs to play good for them to win. And how do you stop James Harden? 22 3-point field goal attempts last game, obviously leading the league in free throw attempts, 3-point attempts, scoring. It's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, and for Houston, they got to keep defending at a high level. That's key to this run they're on. They're really defending well. And then keep up the pace on offense. I think anytime you get easy baskets, you always got the James Harden effect to lean back on when you go half court. But those easy baskets gets everything going for the Rockets.
Starting lineup and tip next, live on NBA TV. Blazers and Rockets coming your way in a matter of moments.
Wireless network claims are so confusing. America's most reliable network, the nation's largest and most reliable network. The best network is even better? Best, fastest, best, enough. Sprint's doing things differently. They're offering a new 100% total satisfaction guarantee. Try it out and decide for yourself. Now you can switch to Sprint and get both an unlimited plan and the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus included for just $35 a month.
24 on the clock. He pushes down court, splits the defense. Look at that cross.